What's going on, guys? Welcome back into the channel. Brenden Schaeffer Fantasy Football with a big Cooper Kupp update based on some roster moves the Rams made on Wednesday. They didn't put him on IR, but does that mean what we think it means regarding his recovery timeline? I'll explain using some video from Sean McVay, actually, to identify what's going on here. But want to mention real quick, this video is presented by Underdog Fantasy. I'm proud to be partnering with Underdog Fantasy, my favorite place to play fantasy games. Their pick'em game is a lot of fun. Pick 2 to 8 stats from your favorite players. Choose whether they'll go higher or lower, and you can win up to 20 times your money by going 5 for 5. If it sounds like fun, sign up with the promo code right there on your screen, BSHAFE, to claim your free pick and your first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash, potentially, depending on how much you put in there. Underdog Fantasy, a lot of fun. Promo code BSHAFE. I will have a link in the description to this video for you to sign up on Underdog with that promo code and get your first-time deposit offer as well as your free pick. Okay, let's talk about this Cooper Kupp situation. The news, obviously, not good. An ankle sprain is what Sean McVay said on Monday. We kind of think high ankle sprain based on the way the video looks, but we haven't heard that for sure yet from the Rams as of about midday on Wednesday. I'm sure Sean McVay will say more about his situation after the Rams did not place him on injured reserve as of Wednesday. This is interesting. This is news from just earlier today. Rams placed Jonah Jackson and John Johnson on injured reserve while signing a backup offensive lineman to the active roster. That is interesting. Nothing said about Cooper Kupp in this quick story on the Rams website. The reason it's interesting, though, is because Sean McVay yesterday, or this was Monday rather, put it out there that these 3 players were all possible candidates for injured reserve. Well, 2 of them went on IR and 1 of them did not. Now, that is a little bit interesting because in a vacuum, we would look at that and say, okay, does that mean that Cooper Kupp doesn't need to go on IR because he's not very hurt? What do you make of this? Well, I think what we can safely make of it is that it's not a season-ending injury for Cooper Kupp. That was the way that it was described by one reporter, Jordan Rodriguez, who covers the Rams. She said that it seems like a positive sign on the surface, right? Cooper Kupp not being put on IR. She said, I would caution, this is from her Twitter account, I would caution against reading too much into a possible timeline. Rams are running out of future return designations. At least it shows injury is not season-ending, and mentions we should know more about the timeline after updates from McVay later today. But she just wanted to remind folks that they're stretched thin on IR return spots, and the corresponding math to navigate that is a little bit tough. McVay said the same thing on Monday in this video that I'm about to show you. And this question, I think, touches on it most specifically. There's nothing else. I watched the full 16-minute video, so you don't have to. But there's nothing else from the video really that goes into detail other than those 3 guys, that 2 of them went on IR, Cooper Kupp didn't, were all candidates, possible candidates for IR. McVay said earlier in this video, extended time for all to miss with injury. However, not season-ending for any of them. And then Kupp of the 3 is the one that they kept on the active roster. Here was this question that McVay answered on Monday as of, hey, why wouldn't they all be placed on injured reserve? Is it more about the state of their injury or the timeline to potentially return? This is a key designation and difference. Let's hear this from Coach Sean McVay.
Jordan.
Hey, Sean, just to clarify on the injured reserve comments from earlier, is that more reflective of just the fact that you have so many people on there already in the numbers there, or is it more reflective of the actual timeline to return of these injuries?
More the amount of guys that have been on there. You know, the timeline isn't necessarily reflective, but you know, I guess you could say a combination of both. But I mean, you'd be almost at your full allotment. I think we would be at our full allotment already. Now you don't have to necessarily declare, you know, the return yet, but that's more what it is. But that's definitely a possibility, and we'll probably make that decision here either today or tomorrow.
So that was McVay on Monday saying they would basically figure it out Monday or Tuesday, which it took till Wednesday, to actually officially put a couple of those guys on injured reserve. Kupp is the one that did not go on. So better than the alternative because, like he's talking about with the spots, you have so many spots of guys that you can have return from IR in a season. It's 4 games that you're out at a minimum if you're placed on IR, but after 4, those guys are eligible to return. The ones that have a chance to return, though, in that kind of 3, 4, 5 week range, because they're so thin on spots they have of IR, they may consider just not placing those guys on IR because they don't have the space to do it. They're just going to keep a guy that might be on the fringe on the active roster. So while we don't know for sure until McVay talks, I think what we can deduce from this is they're under kind of a procedural roster-based squeeze, more so than we think Kupp's going to be back shorter than 4 weeks. To me, it suggests that of the 3 injuries, Kupp was the one likely back the soonest. He's also probably the most important player of the 3. Not that those guys aren't important players on the other side, the safety that got injured and the offensive lineman Jonah Jackson. But Cooper Kupp is a marquee player for this Rams team. And so if there's a chance you get him back sooner than those other guys, and he might make it back in 3 weeks instead of 4 or 5, you don't have to IR him when you're up against it. But I think if the Rams had been fully healthy, they would probably have IR'd Cooper Kupp because it sounds like it's in that range, whereas McVay said on Monday, a possible candidate. So while I think we can take good news from it that it's likely not season-ending for Cooper Kupp, which, if it was a tightrope surgery or another like a full-on situation and then the Rams they're 2-10 and they're out of it, they may just shut him down. Like, maybe that is still a possibility. But the fact that they didn't put him on IR today when they could have is at least small doses of good news. Like, if you thought you're without Cooper Kupp, worst-case scenario for the year because of a devastating injury, I don't think that's what's going to be the case. For example, right before I did this video, I made a huge blockbuster trade in one of my leagues where I had McCaffrey, drafted him first, didn't like it, don't have any running backs, decided I was going to trade injury for injury while upgrading some other positions and trade McCaffrey for Cooper Kupp as part of that deal. I think as far as which guy gets back sooner, there's a chance that it is Christian McCaffrey, but Cooper Kupp is not on IR, and McCaffrey we know has to wait 4 weeks before he's able to return. So it's kind of a toss-up as far as that goes, but I feel like you can at least rest assured at this point that the Rams feel like some of the other guys are in worse injury shape than Cooper Kupp, or the combination of their injuries and his importance to the team is such that they're like, let's wait till the longest possible degree to put him on. McVay's going to answer some questions. Hopefully they're questions that get to the heart of it for fantasy players, because really we got to realize as fantasy players, beat writers are asking questions to do the reporting on the team, not really for your fantasy team. So sometimes the questions and the answers don't exactly come with fantasy in mind, but we are going to be able to I think, glean some interesting things from it. So take that for what it's worth. Let me know if you are excited about this Kupp news, if you're still a little bit trepidatious based on the way that the video looked. Could be a high ankle sprain, right? The head coach is not going to offer that information up until he absolutely has to. And Monday he just said ankle sprain, which is, 1 to 4 weeks typically. If it's a high ankle sprain, as Cooper Kupp has had before and had to do that tightrope surgery to try to get it rectified, it ends up maybe being something that lasts a little bit longer. Let me know, though, what you think about the Cooper Kupp situation. Are you trading him away in your leagues? Are you trying to buy low on Cooper Kupp based on this news? I think that could be a little bit risky, but what can I say? I did it myself, although my guy that I traded away was McCaffrey, and he's hurt too. Anyway, let me know, and make sure you sign up for Underdog Fantasy. I'll put that link in the video description. It's promo code BSHAFE. Check it out, and let's have some fun playing on Underdog Fantasy. Appreciate you guys. Subscribe for more fantasy news throughout the season. We'll talk to you next time on the channel. Peace.